Hey there guys, want to make a quick video on the Schrade Frontier series of knives, and for those experts out there, you could correct me if I'm wrong with what I'm saying, put it in the comments below. As far as I remember, and these knives were released almost a decade ago initially, the SCHF37, 52M, and the 56L. So the 37 was the first generation of Frontier knives from Schrade, which were 1095 knives built for that bushcraft survival kind of role. And it had a lot of input from YouTubers regarding the knife steel that Schrade used quite a bit in that era was HCR13 MOV, and not very popular with the outdoor crowd, especially with the reviewers. A lot of people loved full tang construction with bolted on handles, scales, similar to the K-Bar Becker series, the SC6, very popular at that time frame as well. And then you've got a couple of tops knives like the Bushcraft, Brothers of Bushcraft, so the Bob, and I think the Silent Hero was also very popular. So a lot of 1095 knives were very popular at that point, and you had a lot of other carbon steels from LT Wright, and there was also a couple of things like the Pathfinder School, a lot of 1095 01 and A2 steels were used in that time. So anyway, that's a pretty long intro, and we still have a good amount of information to go over. So the 37 was released as sort of a response, a competitor to the BK7 and SE6, and this came out, and I forget the price of SE6 and Becker's back then. I think they were about $85, $90 at around that time, maybe 70. And this one came out in the $35 price range, 33, 35 bucks. I purchased this one for 33, and the year after, with some input and some tweaks, this one came out as an upgrade to that. So the 37 came out with the 36 and the 38. It's kind of hard to find the 38 right now. I haven't been able to find it on eBay, but you do get a lot of the 36 and the 37 still available. The 52 came out with the 51, and we'll talk about some of the changes they made. And then the 56 also had a smaller version, and these sheaths are atrocious in comparison to these, and we'll talk about that in a bit. But for the $35 to $40 price range, these were pretty good value at that time and still are today. Matter of fact, I would recommend that people get these today if you're looking for a 1095 beater knife or a budget knife for your survival kit or for your outdoor adventures. You can get these on eBay for around 50 bucks. And I actually just purchased two used on eBay. One of them was barely used. I think they just took it out of the box, and it was like $30. Now, for the price point of $33 back then, this is what you got. You got a sheath. Well, these are very similar. There's a little difference on the front pouch material, but basically the same sheath. So we'll take them out of their sheaths. You had an adjustable retention strap here with an actual snap-on button. There's additional Velcro here, so you can adjust that as the Velcro or the material started to stretch. You had the ability to adjust that. You could also put that towards the back, I believe, so that way your knife, you didn't have to worry about your knife snap, being cut every time you pulled your knife out. So you had the ability to get that strap out of the way. So that's pretty good design function. And again, button over Velcro, that's pretty cool. So you have the ability to put this on your belt without taking your belt off. And I wish they put a button snap there too, because that Velcro will wear out. You had a plastic sheath in there to keep the knife in place and keep the nylon protected from the blade. And you got a free or included diamond sharpening stone and a really good ferro rod. So these ferrocerium rods from Schrade were actually pretty good, or are actually pretty good. I don't know if they still make them, because the new version of this, the Bedrock Magnum, comes with a little tiny ferro rod attached to the sheath. So pretty nice sheath for the money. And they're functional. Of course, everybody wants Kydex sheaths. But at the time these came out, and I know people will say you could just make your own Kydex sheath. You got to buy tools. You got to buy a bunch of stuff. I will probably have to learn how to make Kydex sheaths. But I've done little projects before where I spent a good amount of money on the equipment. And it does start to add up after a while. So the sheath on the 56 is definitely lackluster in comparison to this. You don't have the belt loop function where you could put it on your belt, and the material is really just cheap. You don't have a button over here. As you can see, there's really not much retention there. It just comes off. So, but you did get a ferro rod, so that's pretty good. Now they did upgrade this to micarta scales, and that one came with a Kydex sheath. More money. You can still get those on eBay as well, roughly around 45, 50 bucks. Now, as you can see, 33 bucks when it came out, 2015. I paid $40 for this, and I paid $36 for this. So you definitely got a lot of value with these knives. And in that market, you had a 1095 knife, which was about the same size as, you know, the Becker 7 and SE6, and you got it at $40, while those knives were going for around $80 to $100. In today's market, you could get these two for around 50 bucks, brand new, 55 on eBay. And the Becker BK7 is now selling for around $120, $125, and so is the SE6. Tops knives, Brothers of Bushcraft, Silent Hero were around, you know, and you guys could add some knives down there that were 1095 that were competitors. They're going for about $180 now. So at $50, $55, a 1095 knife, yes, it's made in China. Now, one of the big issue that the people have in the outdoor community, you know, these do have 90-degree spines, is that these are hollow ground. So the tip gets very thin, and a lot of people feel that these are easily broken, and there's a lot of videos out there where these break off. It depends on how you treat your knives. I'm not going to be prying with this knife, but these knives baton really well. They're heavy enough that you could chop and delimb from trees, and they're not too bad at dealing with bramble as well, which is the issue with the smaller versions. And I'll show you a comparison with Amora and the Strong Arm in a sec. And so the 52M came out with the 51 series, which is the newer version of the 36. They changed the handle. So with the 37 and 36, you had this jimping under the handle, and it's just very aggressive. The top one's very aggressive, and they had this weird hook where if you were chopping, your hand basically just slipped off, and I don't know. It's just weird. But this one, much better. But the micarta is a lot heavier than TPE, but nice and grippy. Jimping was fixed. You had a nice choil. And these knives are very similar. The 52 is slightly longer, about half an inch longer on the handle, and about a quarter of an inch longer on the blade. And this one, I might get the micarta version if I find it cheap enough on eBay. I wish I used this more, but that sheath was just like atrocious to carry. I carried it once hiking and just never bothered carrying it again. Now, with regards to that, the Gerber series of knives have really nice sheaths, so that's one of the reasons why this became this, type of knife was my choice for hiking, and also it's just lighter. As we started to camp with stoves, I needed a large knife less and less because we weren't processing as much wood. And for size comparison, this knife currently is selling for about $90 regularly, but $70 currently on Amazon. It's on sale right now, so if you guys are looking to get a strong arm, definitely look at that. And we have the Mora, standard size Mora here for comparison's sake. These are going for about $12 to $15. This is the stainless steel version. You can get it in carbon steel. For under $20, you could get a Mora Robust Pro, and around $17, and those are around this size. So Moras are mostly not full tang except for the Garberg. So most Moras are a basic 2/3 or 3/4 tang, where the tang goes down 2/3 of the way in the handle. And depending on how you use your knives, you could always put a 90-degree edge as well. So for bang for your buck, Moras are unbeatable, but a lot of people do prefer 1095 full tang construction in the US. So very solid knives here. Anyway, guys, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching.